This video is sponsored by Ghostfire Gaming, the absolute best online shop for buying dungeons and renting dragons to fly around on. Not only is it a collection of the best and most creative 5th edition supplements made by YouTube people like me and also people from the actual industry, but it's also got a buttload of awesome minis and cards and other stuff. Like this card game. I met the creator of it at Gen Con last year and I threw an axe at him. It was a good time. He died. I've got 2 of my own book sets on sale right now that you should buy 10 copies of. First is the Twisted Taverns Pub Crawl Collection, an enormous set of like 17 taverns to start adventures in. This gem comes with a book to hit your friends with, a digital copy, a GM screen to hide your evil deeds behind, real pretty dice, playing cards with a whole new game, and the whole thing's $50 off. Or Stibbles, the Book of Pokepets for D&D and all its fixins. That one's $40 off. And then Jacob's book. It's like $70 off, but it's not as good. Thank you, Ghostfire. Let's do a video now. Alright, fine. I'll do it. Welcome to a video about Theros, a place where gods constantly, loudly fight in the night sky all the time, and liars become truthers if enough people believe what they say. Gaslighting in Theros must be crazy, because dreams and strong beliefs eventually become the reality. Like if I called you crazy enough times, you'd eventually believe it and become crazy. I guess that's sorta how it works here too. It would be if you weren't already insane. As visually fascinating as Theros and the sky above it, the dream world of Nyx, are, the whole thing can be pretty simply boiled down to about 3 core aspects. The gods, their champions, and the absolute shopping list of things that the gods make their champions do. This place is like a Greek salad tossed with equal helpings of Hades and the Odyssey, and maybe a sprinkle of Sinbad, that movie that nobody remembers. Since 90% of the lore here pertains to the gods, let's go ahead and get meeting them out of the way, because there's a lot. Starting with the biggest boy, Heliod. He's Captain's son, and his main deal is his extremely fragile ego. He's really big on order, respect, and joy, which is kind of boring actually. Really quick, this is an important note. The more devotion a god benefits from, the stronger they are, and Heliod specifically wants everyone to know that he is and always will be the strongest, which kind of means that he's really afraid that he isn't. Also, he hates the god of death. You know, he kind of thinks that guy's a pussy. The real strongest god may very well be the coolest looking one. Crufix, god of horizons, time, and mysteries. He literally controls everything we don't know about, and I feel like gods of mysteries get really downplayed. For all we know, there's like 100 other hidden gods and impossible titanic monstrosities that he completely controls, and almost nobody prays to this guy. He also controls time. Then there's this lady, who visually kind of perfectly tells you what she's all about. Goddess of Destiny. Those 2 extra faces and all the threads everywhere sorta remind me of some beautiful young ladies we all know and love. Her hair is the thread of fate, and she leaves everyone alone unless they pull on it or tangle it, and then she steps out of her little cave and fucks you up. In contrast to the last few gods, Phoenix is like a funny jokes character. He's a goofy little guy who likes to lie and cheat a lot. A god of deception is really just a mischievous character that acts as a thorn in the side of every other god and mortal. Unless you're a liar and a cheat too, then you get to make out with him. This is Thassa, who I am showing you because I like fish titties. And fish abs. And those tentacles, gods be damned. Then we got Porphyros, god of the forge and creation, and also weirdly obsession. He's sorta like the god of repurposing things, and I'm pretty sure that he made the weapons that all of his friends in the sky used to fight every night. Farrakha is kind of his opposite in my mind, being the goddess of both poison and medicine. People usually pray to her when they want to avoid or recover from a sickness, because she invented medicine, but also she created the disease too. She's like self-perpetuating, but people definitely die from her stuff a lot. And that's when they meet Theros, the god of passage to the underworld who collects obols. He's completely incapable of giving even the slightest shit about the other gods, which kinda makes some of them mad, but he's too busy killing people and swimming around in a river to care. Erebos is the lord of the undead, who gave birth to Zagreus after his son brother put him in a hole where dead people go. He kinda sucks, but he's got a buttload of gold, so some people like him. Heliod fucking doesn't though. Ephara is the goddess of law and cities, of which there are 3. This one that's like Athens, this one that's like Sparta, and this Amazonian floating island from the DC comics where Wonder Woman came from. That's real, those are the 3 inspirations. I don't really want to elaborate much on her because cities are like the only thing that she has. I believe Ephara looks down on the world and just sees this. Iroas is the god of winning and war. Actually, mostly war, but I do find it very funny that his whole deal is victory from the jaws of defeat, but your domain literally being
I'm the video game boy! I'm the one who wins!
makes Iroas sorta seem like the One Punch Man of the gods. Karametra is the Harvest Lady, which probably means she has something to do with babies as well. I don't know where that comes from, like mommy goddesses with thick thighs is always associated with spring, babies, and these cornucopia things. Keranos is storms and wisdom. He's kind of like the liar god in the sense that while the other gods are busy fighting each other for personal petty reasons, he just kinda shows up to fuck around really hard, complicate things, and then leave. People who weather his storms gain his favor, clearly left wiser by the experience. Okay, where the hell are we? I thought there would be like 13, there's 15, okay. Mogus, god of slaughter. He's a big fan of gore, humiliation, and all the other weird kinks that happen on the battlefield. Nylia is the goddess of the hunt and serves the same function as Artemis or the huntress wizard. I'm deeply attracted to these kinds of characters. I want her to shoot me. Alright, we're done. So that huge family governs the world and have a buttload of individual servants, which is where your D&D party would fall. Their domains range among the 3 parts of the world, the living night sky called Nyx, Theros itself, and the underworld. The setting also has a buttload of fey creatures and minor deities, and a few playable races that I might make a video about, namely the tiny centaurs, the minotaurs, the satyrs, and the leonins, which actually look really cool and have a bit of lore. I didn't know that we were still doing that. Adventuring in Theros is heavily based on what the gods are doing today and who's fucking with who, or who is about to fuck who. And your duty as a champion is to either help the god that's starting some shit, or maybe fight against a different champion that's doing that. The coolest part of the game is that the gods will manifest as much as they do in old Greek myths. They'll just show up in the sky and start slinging storms at voyagers who didn't pray to them, causing massive sickness to spread on a whole town until they burn proper offerings, or even more precise moments like creating an underworld passage to save a champion during a fight against a big-ass hydra. There's honestly a lot of fun stuff you could do here, but mostly because it's just reskinned magic Greece, which gives us the main toy box of existing stories and elements. Maybe the party ventures into the underworld to recover a lost member, stealing some of Erebos' treasure while you're there, and then heading up to make an offer to Heliod and his floating sky mountain, just because you like him better, but also so that he protects you from the guy downstairs. The crux of most of these adventures is this: each party member functions as a god's will manifested, and you work together with each other and the gods to serve a common goal, probably pertaining to the underworld. They're kind of the bad guys, I think. That's basically Theros. I hope you're happy, Jamie. I had like 12 seconds to fill, so here's a little speed paint of that time that Heliod ran out of toilet paper. Goodbye.